Almost ready. Okay. All right, so I'm all set up. So welcome to Community Breathing and Tension Release, Wednesday, June 22nd. Yes. All right, so we're at 10:30 in the morning today because I couldn't do it later. Next week, this class will be back to 12 o'clock. Today, I'm going to do the sequence sitting in the chair, in the stool. So you can have a stool, you can have a regular chair, not too mushy or too curved in your seat. Try to find something that's a little bit more kind of flat. So I'm just going to come around. I want to see if I can make this stuff disappear. No, I can't. Okay, so we're going to do our body release stuff, just sitting in the stool or chair, and you're just going to take this, make sure everything looks good there, and just have a seat, first of all, with your feet out. And for some reason, it's always the iPad that has a problem with my light. I don't know. Anyway, so we're going to relax the sits bones into the seat. Let your feet come forward a little bit so that you feel that you feel balanced into your sitting bones. We're going to relax the palms on top of the thighs, and we're just going to take a moment and feel the breath drop down into the base of the spine, into the base of the pelvis. So you can close your eyes. Look for a sense of letting go through the low back, through the tail end of the spine. You might feel that your body weight shifts back a little bit to drop into your tail, and a little bit of softening in the sternum, in your chest here, letting that release come through the sternum to let your tail drop. Feel that your jaw and chin release, your shoulder blades are plumb lining down through the sits bones here to let go. You're going to just start to take some nice deep breaths, releasing the energy all the way down into the base of the spine and pelvis, letting go of any external thoughts or tensions, bringing your focus into yourself and just trying to sort of connect with your body, with your breath. So using your breath to do that. We're going to gently open the eyes, take the palms together, and just start to glide the hands forward and back, relaxing through the fingers and feeling the breath come up into your hands and in a very soft, released way here. So we want to get a nice sense of heat and friction into the hands. Feel a sense of connection from your breath inside coming to the surface of your palms. And then we're going to relax and separate the hands, feeling that energy between our hands, feeling that nice little buzz. We're going to let the energy push the palms out into the space around you. So we find the breath inside to just explore the space and move. You can move in any direction you feel comfortable. Feel connected from the inside to the outside. That's all we're looking for here. We want to feel the breath come from an internal place to move your body. Feel that you're expanding into the space around you, expanding up above, down below, around the sides, behind you, and letting that breath just move you through and wash around your space in any direction. So the joints, everything is just sort of softly breathing open here. And you're just exploring, but there's a sense of support internally. So you're not trying to copy, you're trying to feel your body from the inside out. And then we're going to draw through the palms, drawing from that energy around us, gathering it through the palms, and taking that and sensing it over the eyes, around the face, and just breathe and wash over the face, around the eyes, letting that release and sense of calm and openness just flush through the face. We're going to take our fingertips and massage From the inside on the brow bone above the eyes, take a nice exhale and carve in, around and up into your hairline. So we're gonna breathe out, feel a nice sense of opening and expanding from the center around and up, relaxing through the face here and just letting things open up and release. And then we'll take our index finger, we're gonna go underneath the eyes into our orbital bones here. So we're breathing out and just flushing through and under with a nice little lift up into the hairline, using a nice exhale to flush through and up, and breathing through that space to open and up. Now from here, let's take fingertips into the forehead. We're just kind of scrubbing up and down, breathing and shifting, moving the skin on top of the forehead, moving the lymph around under the skin, and releasing the breath. Coming around to the outside of the eyes, the temples, very, very soft and light on the skin, just slightly moving a little bit around, not poking in and not pushing into your body there. And then relaxing through the jaw. Let's come down, and we can go more pokey. So we can palpate with our fingertips into the tissue between the upper and lower jaw, releasing and breathing and shifting around and just kind of feeling out where you're tense and tight and where you need to go. And then coming around up to the ears, onto the scalp. So we're going to just find a nice little lifting upward, scrubbing around the backs of the ears, feeling a sense of lifting and releasing any tension or tightness around the ears, making our way to the back of the head, finding a nice, finding a nice lifting up underneath the back of the neck. So we're all the way at the top of the spine, that nice little crevice there, the occipital, we're just gonna laterally massage into that space, feeling a sense of length and tallness there. Go a little bit wider out towards your ears, feeling the length there. And then we'll come back in close to the spine. Now we're going to take a circular motion, relaxing into the back of the neck, relaxing the jaw and chin a little, and just working your way down the back of the neck until you've reached through the top of the shoulders. So we're coming over top of the shoulders. We're going to dig here. Dig over the shoulders, take a nice exhale, and just sweep over the top and shake it off, and then go back again. So we're going to exhale, relax your shoulders as you breathe and sweep and release. And again, going back and exhale, let go and shake it off. Now from here, we'll interlace the fingers. We're going to find the breath from the low belly, from the base of the spine. Feel internally that you lift up from inside along the spine. That lengthening up inside pulls you up out of your seat, out of your sits bones, long through the tail. And then we're just going to kind of wiggle up taller. So we feel the connection internally, lifting us up a little bit more out of the crevices, through the hips, through the lower back, finding some space through the ribs here, and then just softening your tail, relax the arms down, relax the shoulders as you come down. We're going to take a nice little sweep around the side. You might want to separate the feet a little more. Find that long tail as you come up. Relax the shoulders, elbows are wide, exhale over and around and forward. So you sweep the tail under, breathe through the upper back. Find your tail, inhale, find your elbow, relax the shoulders, feel your scapula move around the back of your ribs, trying to hold them. Scapula are your shoulder blades. And then again, long tail, making space, breathing in between the ribs as you come up. Take a new breath up here and exhale, going over the other way. Sweep your tail under as you come down and around. Finding your tail long, breathe through the ribs wide to come up. Breath comes in and exhale over and forward, around. Finding that long tail, elbows wide, breathing through and up. And moving the shoulder blades around the back of the ribs, forward and around. Finding that long tail, finding your elbow here to come up. Feel the connection right through that center midline of your body along your spine, lifting you up again, lifting through the arms. We're going to separate, keep that internal lift as you separate the hands, and let's circle through the wrists, breathing and opening, letting the palms open, letting the fingers open, letting that space come between the hands, the fingers here. And then just hang into that low V, feeling that length internally. And then relax here. So now we're gonna take the feet out in front and a little bit longer here. Let your tail round under. We're gonna use our fists, the little drumming. So we're drumming into our sacrum and our lower back, feeling that nice release and breath into the sacrum. Going into our glutes a little bit, relax your muscles, let them shake around here. And we're just drumming there. We're gonna go up the sides of the spine, towards the ribs, in towards the kidneys, and back down again. And then from here, we're going to take our fists and just drop into the outsides of the hips. So feeling that nice release and bounce off the outsides of the hips here, letting things go. And then we'll take one at a time from the back of the hip, taking a nice kind of flushing, releasing motion, sending any tension or tightness down, all the way down and out through the leg and out through your toes, out of your body. And then we're going to come around the sides of the legs. So now we're going to open the palms, use the heels of your hands. Make sure you're a little bit more parallel, relax in the thighs and the quads. Well, the quads are the thighs here. And let the muscles release as you fluff up around the outside of the head. So we're working down the outsides of the legs, getting a nice shake off the bone, releasing and breathing out any tension or tightness, waking things up. Come down the sides of the legs until you're just above your knees. And then we're going to fluff up over the tops of the knees to the inside. And you can sort of go all around the knees here, just kind of waking things up and releasing anything holding. And then take your fingertips with these nice little taps right into the patella, feeling a nice vibration into the joint of your knees. So we want to feel that vibration, kind of wake things up, waking everything up inside the knee neurologically so that the fluid can move around a little bit better. And then we're going to go down the shin bones, tap, tap, tapping, all the way to your ankles if you can reach, and back up again. Now from here, we're going to lean back, use the heels of your hands and flush on the top of your quads downward along your femur bones, along your thigh bones, and get a good amount of pressure, releasing and breathing out any tension or tightness. And again, you can go a little bit to the outside and inside because your leg is round. And we just want to get all the way through the quads. We have 4, right, obviously, quadricep muscles. And we're just sort of getting all throughout that area. Now, we're going to lean back a little bit more. When we lean back a little more, if you take your fingertips into the creases, into the front of your hips, into where your hip bones are, if you lean back a little, and try not to lean back and curl, try to just lean back like a hinge. If you lean back, you'll feel them engage a bit. These are hip flexors. We're going to drop down into the hip flexors with the heels of the hands, just kind of bouncing off that area. And then take your flush going down and out again, finding a nice release and lengthening through the quads. And then from here, we're going to take one foot up. You can rest your heel on your knee, relaxed in the foot, and just going on either side of your calf, releasing and breathing into that, letting things again just shake around. And then relaxing that leg back down. We're going to change to the other side. You can rest your heel. You can hold it up if you really want to, but just kind of relax and glide around, getting a good shake off the bone here, breathing into that. And release. So now we're going to bring the legs down. We're going to bring the feet out to the side, but you want to be relaxed here. Sit as close to the edge of your seat as you can. So now use the tops of your hands, and we're going to do a downward flush on the inner thighs. So these are the adductor muscles from our hips. We want to make sure we're not holding any tension or tightness into the front of the hips through these muscles in the legs. Make your way down, and we're still flushing towards the floor, but go along the inner thighs towards your knees. And then just relax here. So we're going to bring the feet back together, and we're going to take one heel out in front. So let's say your right heel goes forward, flexing on the floor. The opposite hand is going to come back, and I'm turning my fingers back on the stool, on your chair. We're going to reach, push down into the stool, but feel that internal breath lift you up and over your tail. We're opening the shoulder, relaxing through the scapula, breathing the chest open. So there's a connection. We're not just kind of hanging off the arm. This is how we quote unquote lift out of our joints, right? So we can't technically make more space. We can realize the space we already have. So we're just changing from one side to the other. It's the same arm as heel goes out. Inhale up and release over. So you can feel that your breath, you're breathing through the joints, up and over and release. So you're finding that fuller opening function inside your body. So even if you feel like it hasn't been there in a long time, it's still there. You can still sort of recover that full range. And again, lifting up over the tail. We're elongating through the spine and connecting. And breath comes in and release. So now from here, we're going to come back through center and relax the tail under. Find a sense of that breath lifting you up from inside, like we're taking off a shirt. We're going to inhale, scoop and lift up. Lifting up, suspending nice and tall. We're going to exhale, release the arms, but keep the lift. And soften, let the tail release. Use your breath to lift your arms up. So the breath lifts you inside. The connection in and up along your spine lengthens your body up and let go. And soften the tail under. Let's try one more. Let the breath come in. Breath from your tail. Your tail glides down through and along the floor behind you. Long, long, long tail as you breathe in and up and release. Now we're just going to shake it all out through the shoulders, the elbows, the wrists, letting that release come all the way through our hands, our fingertips here, really letting all that go. And now we're going to interlace the fingers and just kind of compress and release, shifting the heels of the hands around, letting the breath come through, relaxing through the shoulders. And then from here, relaxing through the wrists and just gliding around. Notice if your shoulders tense, breathe to release them. And let's come back the other way, breathing through that release, finding a nice momentum to let go. And then just taking the hands apart and opening and closing, feeling the space between the fingers, breathing the palms open. And now we're going to do our squeezing breath. Actually, let's not do our squeezing breath seated. We're going to do a little bit standing today. So let's take each finger, find that sense of breath right through the center of the body, the sternum, right? So we have our sternum, we come down into the lower ribs, and we have our xiphoid process and our solar plexus, right? In this area, not all the way up here by your throat. You want to feel, if you feel softened in this area, right in between where the ribs start to separate, you'll find if you breathe into that release, all of a sudden your shoulders might let go, right? So a lot of tension builds up here. It could be for many different reasons, but there's a huge this is all connected neurologically. This is our second brain, the solar plexus. So you want to feel that you can soften through that. You could be holding tension for many different reasons. We're going to breathe and open that area with your breath wide. So as you exhale, feel the breath release this open. That release is to travel all the way out through the arms. So it starts here to open the shoulders and the arms. Each finger, taking your finger, relax the shoulders. We're going to wiggle that line open. And then there's a nice little pinch and let go. Exhale. And then another one. Find the release. Relax the shoulders. Find the sense of breath from the center out. So the breath gives you a nice stimulation to open the chest and feel a little bit of a lift. And the arms float open. So we're not trying to whack them around and pull them back. Just breathing and feeling the chest expand. And changing hands, let the breath come in and feel that wiggle open. And again, breathing through it. So you're going to find, even you might get a nice little adjustment on one finger or a couple. So there's not a congestion that we hold through these nerve lines, right? So we want to feel that we're just opening everything out and letting everything release and breathe so that we can really feel our bodies and become aware and connected. So now we'll go back into interlace and just rolling around and relax the shoulders, rolling back the other way. So we're going to reverse that. And then separating apart. Good. So now we're going to come around onto our feet and we're going to use our chair here. I'm going to take the chair off to the side and we're just going to find a nice sense of connecting right through our center midline down and out through the foot behind us. So we're not going to necessarily slide the foot long, but feel the breath through the midline. Take one foot behind you, tuck your toes under. Do not drop your heel down yet. Bend this other knee and feel a sense of length through the spine. You can bring your foot pretty way back. Find the sense of length through the spine and draw your tail long. And as your tail draws long, you can release your heel. And then come in, breath lifts you up. So find the breath through the belly to change. The other foot goes behind you. You're making sure you're nice and aligned, toes tuck under. That heel relaxes, but it's not on the floor. Feel the breath that lift through the midline to lift your chest. Now draw, as you lift up to the ceiling through the midline, draw the tail towards your heel to let go. And then come in. Now, go in a little bit more of a fluid manner. We're going to exhale, lift inside to find the release, and come back in. If this is too much pressure on your knee that's bending, you can draw more weight into your back heel. We're trying, there's a little bit more range in the bend in the front knee than you might be used to. So if your knee doesn't like that, you can just put more weight on the back foot. We're going to be nice and parallel, super duper parallel. Feel the length internally, lifting you up to the ceiling to glide back and in. One more time. Toes tuck under, lift up to the ceiling to find that long tail and come in. So now from here, we're going to step the feet back a little bit. So we have our tail shifting back over the heels. If you can even just stay here and shift. You want to feel your sits bones lift up and back a little. We're elongating through the hamstrings and lengthening through the back of the heels, through the backs of the knees. So there's a contrast, lifting the tail up. You can relax the palms on your seat and relax your body down. Feel that your shoulder blades just relax into the back ribs here as you're shifting in and back and up through the tail. Feel that your breath lifts through the sits bones, drawing you up and back. And then feel the stomach, the upper belly, The upper abdomen lifts to the ceiling so you can feel your tail release, and then you step forward and hang your arms, hang your head halfway over. Feel the breath, lift your upper belly to the ceiling. So you're lifting in and up so you can continue to lift out of your hips, to drop your tail down as you're rolling up, feeling the length into the front of the hips here. So then you're all the way up standing, right? So now from here, let's actually, you can get rid of your chair here. You can sort of just put that off to the side or step away from it. And now, first I have to shift this a little bit. Yeah, I don't know if this will stay, but we'll see. Okay, so now we're standing, letting that opening come through the center. So feel a sense of connection into your midline, right? So we have the midline from the floor all the way up, that imaginary line that our spine aligns with and our head aligns with. We use that as a sense of proprioception to connect, right? So it can stretch and move and go in different directions, but there's a sense of awareness that we bring through that. We want to feel that midline, feel that the tail of your spine releases down towards the floor and like a long sweep down and out behind you. So there's a lengthening, a very long tail, long dinosaur tail, has some weight to it. It's heavy, has some energy behind it, using gravity to lengthen. So we're going to bring our fingertips to the low belly. This is the dantian. This is where the two halves of our body meet in the center. We want to feel the fingertips, right? It's underneath the navel. It's on the opposite side of our sacrum. We feel that we can connect internally. If you just take a little exhale, scoop the belly in, release. Let the belly relax a little as you inhale, exhale, release. So I have my other hand on my sacrum, there's the back of my palm. So you can feel what happens to your sacrum when you exhale here. What happens to your back muscles? So we're going to exhale. Because I've been doing this for a long time, I actually feel a sense of length and opening. That doesn't always happen. You could feel a compression and a holding. So you want to try to feel space in that palm behind you. We're going to exhale. Now the fingertips can actually give a little pressure in to help wake up the muscles. Be nice to yourself though, don't go too hard. Use a little bit of pressure with the fingers to feel something, but you're going to use your muscles and your breath to connect on the exhale. So we're going to exhale a little longer, holding it, and let the breath in release. And exhale. And release. Breath comes in and exhale. And release. So now we're going to relax the arms. Your legs can relax a little bit here. We're going to use that compression release with now expanding, just as we've done on the floor before. We're going to do this standing. We're going to let the breath in, expand the body through and up. We're going to use the breath from the dantian through the fingertips, the toes, the eyes. We're going to exhale, squeeze the breath out and pull it in through the center. Bending your knees, pulling it in, so you don't have any more breath left. As the breath comes in, expand and open up. And again, gathering, finding that compression, exhale, using your breath, squeezing, fingertips, toes, eyes, compressing, breathing out, anything you don't need or want anymore. Expanding and floating open. And then one more time, using the breath, squeezing it out. Floating the arms up, so we're letting the breath come in. As the arms come down, we're going to exhale, soften through the knees and the elbows, releasing forward and floating down and around. Let the arms hang at the bottom. Now we're going to use a sipping breath through the dantian. We're going to sip the breath in and up. Feel that length of your tail draw down. The arms are going to float around and up from this engagement. We're initiating through the breath in the pelvis. The pelvis floats the chest, right? Find the sip. It's like you're sipping through a straw through the center. You can imagine it comes from between your heels even. The shoulder blades just glide down the back. We're going to exhale. Little softening in the knees and the elbows to float down and around. Find the connection through the center midline, sipping. Suspending it, and exhale. And release. One more time, sipping in and up, lengthening down to come up. And exhale. And release. Now we're going to curl the tail under a little bit. Curl the tailbone under with your knees bent. We're going to use our fingertips to trace the breath line in through the center midline as we come up. So we're going to sip and trace along through the body. Lengthening the heels down to come up. As we come up, just lightly bring the palms together. The hands don't have to touch, but just fingertips like an open prayer. Now relax your shoulder blades and find the sternum and the chest, not pushing forward, but breathing wide. We find the space to open the chest wide, and that's what gives us a nice lengthening up. Feel the breath expand through the chest, the front of the ribs. Open the arms. We float them open and around. Find that softening in your knees and draw your tail under. Sip through the midline again, in and up. Long tail down. We're going to just lightly bring the fingertips together, finding that relaxation in the shoulder blades, so they might be up, and just relax them down to find the opening in your chest. Let it come through, and then breathe the chest open wide. Think of each of the ribs expanding to open the arms out, around and down. Let your knees soften, let your tail sweep under. One more time, find your breath, sipping in and up. There's that lengthening down to come through the center up. Find that release in the shoulders to breathe the chest open. And feel the breath opening through the ribs to release through the arms out. And softening the knees to come around and down. Now let the breath come in through the midline to lengthen you up. Use your right arm. We're going to take a deep breath, float the right arm up, straight up to the ceiling. Feel that center midline, the middle finger is just touching the side of your body. We're going to exhale, shift your right hip down to your right heel. That's going to help you lean over and lean into that hip to breathe these ribs up to the ceiling. So you're expanding and breathing through that side up. As the breath comes in, feel the sternum breathe up and open. The arms float around from the center, changing, letting the breath in. Breath comes through the center. We shift and lean into the other hip, gliding this other hand down. And exhale, hanging your head, breathing through the ribs around and up to the ceiling. As the breath comes in, float, opening the sternum wide. To release the arms open, breath comes in to change. And exhale, shifting. Feel that nice reaching up. You're gliding, you're opening the space under the ribs, between the ribs. Long tail down through the heel. Breath comes in right through the center, lifting you inside. To open the arms, floating around. We're going to do one more. Finding that breath connection right through the center up. And exhale, shifting in the hip, gliding the tail down to your bottom heel. Breathing through those ribs up to the ceiling. Relaxing your head to hang over. As the breath comes in, floating up through center. We're going to take a deep breath, gather the arms in, a little bend in the knees. Exhale from the center through the midline and apart. Push away and open your shoulder blades wide through the back. We're going to float the arms up. Inhale. Long tail down, stretch through the legs. Take your palms together, glide the hands down through the front of your body. There's a little tiny bend in the knees with a little gathering under your sits bones towards your tail. We're not tucking and closing off the tail, we're just gathering. Turn your fingertips in towards your center, relax your shoulders, and feel that length down through the back of the body. Make sure you're not holding too much tension in your tail and your knees. We're going to relax the shoulders down here. We're going to use it through the nose. Pumping breath. We're going to exhale, and this tummy goes in as we pump out through the nose. So you can practice here. So we want to feel it's more pungent, has more energy behind it, goes deeper. So we want to feel that breath. Imagine like there's a little ping pong ball in the dantian, and we're pumping out the breath out, and the ball's floating up. And it's floating up, right? So inside, everything is lengthening up, but releasing down and out through the back. So come into your position, relax the shoulders. The heels of your hands can separate here because your wrists probably need that to open the shoulders and the back. So we're going to just find the breath. You can even feel very centered into yourself. Let the breath build. It's going to take some repetition. Take a long exhale. till you don't have any more breath left in there. As the breath comes in, we're going to float up right through the center. Lengthening the tail and heels long. We're going to reach up. We're climbing and shifting in the hips, bending one knee. Think of that midline right through the center of your body. So we're not losing the connection. We're going in and up, connecting through the center as we shift through the joints. So we're not putting pressure into the joints. That's the whole thing. We're finding connection, so we're not relying our weight into the joints all the time. We're letting the joints function, and that's giving us a sense of freedom in the joints. So that's giving us space. We're going to come through center, feel that connection through your center midline as the arms come up. Feel that breath open and lengthen you internally as the arms float out, around, and down. Find a little softening in the tail. We're going to do a nice little rippling through the spine. Elbows are bent. Breath comes in and up just like we did on the C. Inhale. Long tail down through the floor, through the back of the heels, and just breathe the chest and sternum open as the arms open wide. And soften the knees, soften the tail under. Find that release, find the breath in and up, pushing your heels slightly down into the floor to lengthen you, to connect you inside to lift up. And exhale, breathing open, releasing the arms out, around and down. Sweeping the tail under, breath comes in. Long tail, letting the breath lift you up. And finding that space, breathing through the ribs. This time, let the breath open and keep the legs lengthened as the arms float out, around and down. Letting them just find a nice hanging place here at the end. And then just softening. Breathe through the sternum, through the chest to open the shoulders and circle around and back. So the chest breathes through and up to roll through the shoulders around. So we want our shoulder blades to really move around the back ribs, right? So we want to feel that they're moving all around. We're not holding them. Everything in the shoulder girdle functions because it moves, right? It's not just hold your shoulders and keep them there forever. The shoulders express and move around the back of the ribs. And then we have our arms, our humerus bones can start to move and rotate inside the socket. And then we just release. You can take a nice little walk out if you want to, finding that length down the back. Good. Okay, so today was very different, and that's kind of what I wanted it to be. So I wanted to do some of the stool. I want to get more of the standing breathing sequencing in this class. And for those who are following it, I think mostly everyone's just following the recording, and we'll see, I'm not too worried about that, but I'm just going to keep doing it this way. Next week, I'm going back to 12 o'clock Eastern time, New York time, and still same thing. And we'll just continue the same way. I'll do the same, I think we'll do the stool, or I'll definitely get more of the standing in. And then, sort of hopefully things will start to make more sense from there. So thank you very much for joining. Let me know if anybody has any questions or comments. And I will see you guys next week. Thank you. Now I have to turn off all my little devices here. Thank you.